I will answer your question in a second, but first I need to insert something about delicious and about Heinz. It's very easy as a food entrepreneur to think that there is a deliciousness shortage. There is not. I would like to encourage you to make something delicious. Thank you very much. But there is not a deliciousness shortage. That is not why people are going to buy from you. They're going to buy from you because of the two things that are never changing about humans: a need for status, a need for affiliation, and the third one, a bonus, freedom from the feeling of fear. Those are the three things that motivate people. Status means I get to eat lunch first. I'm a fancy person. I'm an insider. I've earned this. Affiliation is the people to my left and the people to my right are doing this. I don't want to be left out. And the freedom from the story of fear is I don't want to die. Those three things over and over and over and over and over again. And so if you decide to show up as a food entrepreneur, you better have a story bigger than this is delicious. Because I can't name a food entrepreneur who has succeeded solely because it's delicious. And the last thing about Heinz ketchup, Malcolm Gladwell has pointed out, Heinz ketchup is in more refrigerators in the United States than any other food except for Kraft Singles cheese, which isn't really cheese. And the reason no one buys any other brand is simple. When you are 3 years old, Heinz ketchup is the very first food your mother lets you dispense yourself. And so to buy any other brand of ketchup is to denigrate your mom. It is a celebration of your childhood to embrace Heinz ketchup. That is what they make money from, not the fact that it's delicious.
On that kind of, slightly tangential here, but I've been reading a book called The Ape That Understood the Universe, which is a bit of a mouthful. But in the opening chapter of that book, it details almost an alien coming down from space and kind of having a view on human nature. What would you say the role of marketing is on human nature if you were to try and explain it to an alien?
Marketing is people like us do things like this. That's all it is. It is a cultural signal to people who want affiliation and status to say, this is what we do. So if you're looking at old issues in National Geographic and you see people from somewhere else wearing weird clothes, they're only weird to you. They're not weird to them. They grew up wearing those clothes because that's what the marketing told them to wear. Maybe not the store marketing, but it's still marketing, right? So if someone from 40 years ago saw us with this conversation with you little with invisible white things in your ear and me doing this thing, wearing these clothes, but what are we doing here? All of it was invented by marketing. This is normal now. So the goal, if you want scale, is to make what you're trying to shift from new to normal. Some people want to go when it's new. Some people want to go when it's normal. But this is how we get in sync as a species. The way ants get in sync is they release pheromones and the smells tell them what to do. Well, this is our version of that.
The circle of us versus the circle of now. I read that like 5 times and I'm still a little bit baffled by that. And
it's such a big idea.
Such a big idea. Could you unpack that, like the circle of us versus circle of now? And then, any food and drink, big, small, beautiful, ugly brand to kind of add some color to that.
So what's the circle of now? Everyone has one. If you are 2 years old, your circle of now is 7 seconds. Whatever you want it right now. If you are Charlie Munger, your circle of now is 15 years. That you are willing to do something today if it's going to pay off in the next 15 years. So if you want to be a good investor, you better make your circle of now bigger. If you want to act like an infant, you better have a tantrum when things aren't exactly the way you want them to be. So human beings, customers, have a circle of now. How big is it, right? If you're selling cold drinks at a football match, the people who are your customers have a circle of now of less than 60 seconds. If you can't get them what they want in less than a minute, they don't want it.
Sure.
So that's number one. And then the circle of us. The circle of us for a 2-year-old is mommy, daddy, and me. That's it. And I don't care about what's happening over there in Albania. Mommy, daddy, me. That's a very small circle of us. On the other hand, Tony, who started Tony's Chocolonely, sells 25% of all the chocolate in the Netherlands because he cares about people in Tanzania and Ghana and the Ivory Coast. His circle of us is much bigger. His customers' circle of us is getting bigger because he is leading them to think wider. So it's longer and wider. These are habits and situations that we have. Some companies, like banks, will push you very hard to make your circle of now very short, right? We'll give you money today. Don't worry, you'll have to pay us back in the future. It doesn't matter. And to make their circle of us very small, right? Saying you need the money, you deserve it. And spiritual leaders say, no, no, no. You need a bigger circle of us and a longer circle of now. So we got to decide, what story are we telling and who are we telling it to?
How does this link to strategy? The circle of us versus circle of now. Are they semiotic or are they binary? Like, how do they link together?
So what's Nespresso doing? Nespresso says, it's 7 a.m. You want a good cup of coffee. You don't want a good cup of coffee by driving to Blank Street Coffee and waiting. You want a good cup of coffee right now. So circle of now is short. Nespresso is saying, of course, billions of our pods are in landfills around the world. Not your problem. Your grandchildren will worry about that. That's it, outside of your circle of now, outside of your circle of us. Nespresso would not work if people were not focused on convenience and selfish.
A couple more questions. Is that okay?
Yeah.
The elegant path is the most useful path forward, and I loved the analogy of talk of your friend running. Like, I'm a bit out of shape at the minute, Seth. Probably been eating a few too many cheeseburgers, but I used to know that feeling when you get into running and it just feels light and you just feel at one with nature. And I also know the feeling of feeling like you're carrying around quite a lot in a derriere area for sure. But this simplified and add lightness. You talk about Colin Chapman at Lotus. Talk to me. We talked about strategy. How this simplify and then add lightness. Could you talk about that? Is there a brand that has been heavy, a food brand that's been heavy and been running slowly through drudgery that has then simplified and added lightness?
So what did Danny Meyer build at the Union Square Cafe and the Modern and Gramercy Tavern, right? His entire strategy can be written on a business card with room left over. Create hospitality that people want to talk about and come back for. That's it. That determines who you're going to hire, how you're going to train them, how you're going to charge, what you're going to serve, all of these things. You've picked who your customers are. That's super light, direct, clear strategy.
Compare that again. What did he say again? Sorry, he said,
build an environment. People who come to Union Square Cafe to eat have food in their home. They ate a meal just before this. They're going to eat a meal after this. We are not solving a food shortage problem.
Sure.
People are going to come to this place because of affiliation and status. They're going to come to this place because the story of hospitality makes them feel better. They're going to come to this place because their guests are going to give them more status. All of these things. But it's super simple. Strategy is, for a certain kind of customer, offer remarkable hospitality that is worth talking about and coming back for more of. That's it. So if a waiter needs to make a decision, you don't have to manage that waiter. You just have to have that waiter understand your strategy. They will invent new tactics to make someone feel seen and understood and remembered. And so 5 years ago, I went to see Patricia Barber play at Danny's old jazz club. And we get there a couple minutes before the show. We're a little late. It's first come, first serve. And Danny does not know I'm going. I mean, I have a reservation, but it's a very big institution. We get to the thing and I say, sorry, you're almost started. I hope you have a table left. We have a reservation. And they say, oh, welcome. And they bring us right to the front row and they serve us a fruit plate with a note from Danny that says, Welcome back. Glad you're here. That happened without Danny even knowing about it.
Espressos is sponsored by supply chain software gurus Unleashed. It talks to your e-com and accounting software. It's helped islands cut admin time in half, get granular clarity on your margins, know where your stock is, don't miss availability. Brands like Candy Kittens, Tiny Rebel, and Trip all use Unleashed, and so should you.